Mem Zion. Let me see. If you look at the top of this, on the top part, and the word is that is the top paragraph on this page. It's about Inyan Hu Kia Arba Ekia Elu Hein Gematria Yisro. We went through the count of them. They come to the Gematria of Yisro, which is also Taryu, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And here we have another case where we're going to remove the Yud Vav Osius, the 16 Osius Hapeshutos, and then that's going to leave you with this tar, which is the Gematria of Tzitzis again. So that was the Indian that we learned last time. So now let's read the Rav, the words of the Rav here. Get a little bit more light on my thing here. Okay, and it says like this: What about the other 16? The other 16 Oros and the Sharim and the Tzitzis, where do they go? Bata the Bayer Inyan, the Yud Vav Osios and his Karim. So since we mentioned that there's 600 plus these other 16, and the 16 are not part of the Tzitzis, is mashma. So we'll remove them. What happens to them? So it's like this. Let me see if I can follow this. The two ekias, the four ekias, right? So the kasa kamakana. So he says ekia the yud and those two hey mitzad panin. They go on the front part of the talus. In other words, they face. That's going to be the front of your talus. Now it sounds like he's talking about a talus cotton, because the other one, let's see, how's it go? I guess it would be that you fold it, and then you would have two in the front and two in the back, okay? Behem the Yaakov, and they go to the side of Zeranpin, which is called Yaakov, Shehem begematria Shachov. So Shachov is, Shachov is 162 plus 162. Kihu bechinas tipas, what is it? It's the aspect, the kipas hazohar. So this concept here. So therefore the concept of shchiva is referenced here. And then you have the other two, Haim the Rachel, they go to the backside, Mitzad Achre Zeranpin, which is the back of Zeranpin, the Chazad Lamata, Behem Begematria Ritzei, Imakoilu. So what is it? Ritzei is desire or acceptance or something like that. I don't know. But he says, now remove the 8 osi letters of the akiyas themselves. Hapshutos kanizkar, yishara repes, rapas. I don't know how to pronounce it. So you get the number 287. Now I thought right here he was going to go to 288, but he didn't. Shuhu Rapo Imakoilo. So what is it actually? It's actually Reish Pei Vav 286 plus the Kolo, which gives you Rapas. Vuhu Sod Peru, Veravu. So it's really, now you have this concept. Now it's exactly how the gematria works. So Rapas Rapo is Peru. And the other one, where is that one coming from? And Shuhu Rapo. So I don't know when I have Ravo. I don't have it quite yet. Kibikoch Elu, because from the power of these two, Hanikta the power of a Rava, the Hanikva, Hanikeva, so Hanikeva power of a Ravo. So by putting these two together, the female aspect is able to reproduce. So Mansipach Olu Peru. Now that I don't understand exactly. Mansipach is a gematria 280. Olu Peru. Imakoilo. So it comes with that with the kolo. So exactly how they added that up, I don't know. Into sort of Shmona Osios on his karo. So if you add up the 8 letters that we're mentioning, Im Shachav in his karam with the 3 excuse me, with the 322 that we were talking about, Shal Yaakov, Vim Shmona Osios Acheres the Peshutos Shal Shnei Akid the Yud and the Yaakov. So you bring them the Peshutos back, I guess. Yeyo Kulim Begematria Vayishkav, which is lying down, lying together like husband and wife. This is the secret of this. V'yishkav imo b'laylahu, and he lay with her that night. So this, he says, I understand the gist is the mixing of the front tzitzis and the back tzitzis, so the Yaakov tzitzis and the Rachel tzitzis. Ki elu shnei akiyah niskarim. So the two akiyahs that we're talking about here, which are the akiyahs? I'm not sure which one he's talking about. Let me see. Niskarim is the ale. He says nosin alacho. He says nosin given to her. Beis shochev im nekeva when they lie together. Who gam came so v'yesh kaf beis. So here's another idea. There's also the secret here that there are 22. Yesh kaf beis is also yishkap. Shem kaf beis asvan, which is 22 letters. Because the 5 letters which are mansapach, which are doubled, Rachel already has them. So let's see if I can get some help for myself to understand some of these missing parts for me, and go on. So reading on Shin Tov down at the bottom. Let's get down there. Let me see if I can do how he's doing this. Here we go. 1 second. Okay, here we are. So it says, so we have the lights now, they're coming through the Yisod of Imu Kadei Lihis Pasha Begufa Dezah. Shehem Arba Kanfos Ba'avram B'Yisod De'ima. So now we're talking about the 4 kanafs that we had said before that come out of the Yisod of Ima. Lokhu Kula Ma'ara Me'arba Shemo Shel Ekya Demilu Hein. So all of them get this kanaf concept that is coming out of the Ekya of the Milu Hein. So even if we come and we start adding up the gematrias of the mochin, shehem arba mochin b'milu yaku. So let's go back to where we were before. So the mochin, they come on the chachma side, mechachma the ima achiluf after the chiluf, v'arba mochin the milu aki mebina the ima, which is the normal bina of ima. So he's reviewing a little shtickle cover that we saw before. That's a way that we got to the number 756. So that's if you start looking at each one of the tzitzis themselves, going into one of the mochin, then you'll get some of that lineup about from from Chochmah all the way over to Bina. But now if you see them as only 4, just looking at the 4 themselves, all right, Bilvad, that this is really the reality, this is the situation of the mochim without going into the details of what each moach has within it, just looking at the mochim themselves. As a chesvon shel mochim hu acheres, you're going to get to a different count. As mitzius hamochim atzman the abba be'ima beli she is parto. So now we're saying here what we're going to look at these mochim of abba be'ima without going into the details of what's inside of them. But who be'ofen zeh kasher machshivim as a klal as arba mochim shel chub b'chub the mochim the abba homaluboshe benai the abba. So these are the mochim that are maluvash in the nai the abba coming into Zeranpin, I think. Timsa ki arba mochim shel klalos hub v'chub the abba yesh sham arba milui habayos. There are 4 different miluyim of habayos. So this he's just taking here and just looking at the abba part of this, and the abba, excuse me, which is the male part. And so he says it's asmab. It's al ba'ofen shemuach hachachma the abba b'hu chabayim b'milu yudin b'hu gematria av amuach abinda the abba b'hu chabayim b'milu yudin v'alef b'hu b'gematria sag amuach hachasad the das the abba b'hu chabayim b'milu yalav b'hu gematria mag b'hu hagavur the abba b'hu chabayim b'milu yayin b'hu b'gematria ben. So he said, so let's look at them as a group. So now we know that this group which has this characteristic, which is this gematria is now in the Nayavima Oz Timsa Shabachina Shaganegada Arba Obvious analysis. Those aspects that correspond to these avayos, Haim Arba Mine Milui Shem Shal Akin. So corresponding to them, you have the opposite. You have the Milui Vakin. So the first group, which is the Chachman of the Bina De'ima, Shnehem Haim Shemu Shal Akin B'Milu Yudin. He says this is really what it looks as is a column. So it's interesting that you had in mind that if you, in your imagination, that you could see that there's inside of this milui of numbers is another set of milui numbers, but we're not talking about those. So the third one is going to be the maki of milui alofim, of hamuach haravi, shuhu gevuras the das, which are the gevuras of das. Let me just, something went wrong here. Show the gevuras of das, hushem ekia b'milui hey. V'ima mucha de'ima. Now together with the mucha de'ima heim arba milui ekia. So now you have the four different kinds of ekias. So now these are going to be the tzitzis. Yotzim arba miluim shal ekia. So what's coming out is the kasa kamagana. That's what actually you're seeing here. V'lezera v'yesh arba mochin. Azah has four mochin. And from those mochin that are now in Zeranpin is where you see that the arba kanfos of the tzitzis are going to develop. And what are they? The kanfos, the four corners themselves, are the four milui of Akia, the Vishnera v'chatzitzios, shema shnei milui Akia, the Yudin, heim nimshakim klapit sad panav shel zah. So they all extend down towards the side of the face of Zeranpin. So let's see how's this go. V'shnei chatzitzios, heim shnei miluyim Akia, the lofim v'dehayin, heim nimshakim v'tzad ach. So they go, one part is on the front and one part is on the back. So v'shnei chatzitzios shel sad achrav. Let's look at those. The zah, sheheim shnei Akia shel milui alofim v'heyin, hazah mamshichan. So what does zah do with these? He streams them over to the nukva b'kedei the dit and the nuk dezah in order to be able to get him his female part. Oh, medet ba'achrav, which is on his back. Dezer anpin b'chachazel lamata. Shnei chatzitzios ha'omdim b'tzad panim shel zer anpin. For these two tzitzios, which are that's you can see I have a little cough. Shnei chatzitzios ha'omdim b'tzad panim shel zer anpin. So the two, let's say the face one shehem shnei akib b'milu yudin. So he pulls them in order to give them to Yaakov. Now we mentioned Yaakov and Rachel. We're talking about, I think, the Lashon Yichud. Zeranpin, which is on the front of Zeranpin, now he's going to explain how this is going to work out. Now let's look at how he works these gematrias. He says, Arba mina hamiluim shel elu ha'arba shameless akis. So the miluim heim gematria Yisro. So Yisro are taryu, which he's going to use that word too. He says, whatever it is, it's 616. So he said, Dihine ha'arba miluim akia. Heim shnayim biyudin sheheim olim shnayim. So we'll just go this way. Shnei pamim kasa, which is 162 and 160, 61, 61, and so on 61. Va'echad b'olofim, which is kamag. Va'echad b'heyin, which is kana. Because tetzar of kasa kamag kana, hare heim yachta b'gematria tario. So he just said it out. So we said before, what about those other 16 parts? We understand the 600 refers to the tzitzis themselves. What do you do with the other 16? What are they in fact? Is that I guess I'm not sure exactly where I would place it, but there are four different They are the actual letters of the Akyas, and 4 Akyas, which make 16. V'kemin shehem arba shemus Akya, az arba pamim arba osias Akya b'shutas olu shesh esrei osias. So he spells it all out. Okay, so that's so far. Okay, so now we understand where the 16 comes from. So it's some I'm not sure exactly what words I would use. It's a kolel. What is it? Exactly where it is. Let's see what he does. Because shataser shesh esrei is osi b'tar. You're going to take the 16 away of the pshutos are nishar tar. Still doesn't answer the question of what goes on with the other 16. Shuhu ola b'gematria tzitzis. Now, let's see what else he has to say here. He says, now, ba'ad kan, bir rav kam ufane be'inyan amochen nasa bezav heich ramos bechem so the tzitzis. How, in fact, am I in the right place? I am in the right place? Okay. I thought I was reading this again. I don't think I'm in the right place. Or am I? What did I do wrong?
I lost you.
You lost me, right. Just give me a second here. I think somehow I turned the Reish. I didn't get to page Reish Mem Ches. I'm not sure how I did that, but I think I started reading the other one again. We should be on number Shin Mem Aleph.
Yeah.
So he says Yehu Bechinas Tipas Hazachar. I don't know if we really even read that. Let's start for Shin Lamed Hey. See if we have time to do that. Okay, start from there. Ma'atim bevar Rav Ech Hi Halukas Ashisha Es Aser Eser Osios Yiseros Al Mispertar. Amana Asa Minashesh Esre Osios Niskar Kashem Nasirim Osam Kadesh Yeshara Tar Shul Mispertitza. So we have these outside 16. There are the Shnei Ekya Bibilu Yudin Shehem Shtei Pamim Kasa. Hem Yotzim Mitzad Panim Shel Zer Anpin. They go out to the front of Zer Anpin. Vehem Nem Shach and the Yaakov Omer Mitzad Panim Shel Zer Anpin, and they go down into Yaakov, who stand in the front of Zer Anpin. Minachaz of the Mata. Bofen She'elu Shnei Ekya the Yudin Shehem Shnei Pamim Kasa. Hem Olim Yachde Begematria Shakov. They come to the number 322. Vehem Mamshich the parts of Yaakov. So this 322, this concept of Shakov, which means lying down, basically, he says goes to Yaakov. Paratam Shehem Nimshach and the Yaakov. So why should they go to Yaakov? Why did the 162s go to Yaakov? Now, let me see if I got the wrong place again. Mishum Shehem Tipa de Duchura, because they're masculine. Here we go. So since all of this comes down from up above, going down below, so therefore that's we say the idea is lying, this is coming downwards. But now let's look. They go from the back. Amidas Rachel Kuba Akre Zam in the Chaz of the Matas, it's in the back. The Eki Bimilway Alofim who begematria Kamag. The Efya de Milway Hayan who begematria Kona. The Kamag Bekona add them together. Yachtav Haim Ola begematria Ritzad. They come from the word Ritzad. Gematria. Add a kolel into it, and it comes to the word Ritzay. So now you have Shkav and Ritzay. So if you remove them from the two Ekyas, let me say, so if you remove from them, as Shmona Osios the Peshutos, the 8 letters of the Peshutos, we did the same thing. The El Ba'inyan Tarya Osias, Shechasarna B'Shesh Esra Osias, the Peshutas, which were left over, the 16. As Yeshar Minyan Rapas. You get this number Rapas, 287. Now, what do we do with that? So Yisach Minyan Rapas, and now Hainu Mispar Rapo, Shemitzarpim below v'sekoil. So really it comes to the number 286. Sheyaktav heim naasa rappas. So put the kolo together. He did that twice. So putting the kolo, we have ritzei, and now we have rappas. Ba'ofen sheikar mispa rappas hu rafu. So the root of it is, without the kolo, is either rafu. So rafu to me means healing or something like that, or weak, I'm not sure. But let's see, that's what it is. V'hu sod shall, he changes, and he says it's the concept of peru or ravu. It's the concept of being fruitful and multiplying. Because from the power of the kamag and the kona, the ekiyas that went into the nukva, shekasher anuk mekabelas menazah el shnei ekiyah amalayim anal, as he para v'rava bechem, so she uses it to reproduce. Ve'elach shnei ekiyah b'meluam. So these two ekiyas, the complete she'echad hu b'holofim ve'echad hu b'heyin, which is kamag and kana. She'b'chaser bechem shmona osis the peshutos. So if you take away the peshutos, nishar misparim peru. V'zechad desod osius mansapach. Now how is that? He says this is the secret of the letters mansapach. Shul b'gematria par, which is 280. Now let me just read this again because I'm not sure that I'm following it. You take the 8 letters away. Shebachasir mechem shmona osius the peshutos. Nishra misparim peru. So then the number that you have now is going to be peru v'zechu v'sod osius mansapa. Why? Shuhu b'gematria par, which is par plus a vav. I don't know. Because mosifa chamesh osius shalamansapach, add on the 4 letters of the 5 letters of the matzcha, heim para. V'imakoilu peru. Would you like to hear that again? Or should we keep going?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll hear it again. So he says, now you take these 2 ekiyas, the ekiyah, the kama, the kanga. Which is kama and kana. He says, so take away the peshutos. So then you're left with what? Usually they say when you take the peshutos away, you're left with the ha'ara. Like it's a secondary light, really. So you took it away, so the peshutos. Nisha misparim peru. So now you'll have a gematria of Peru, which we like that gematria. But question is that how'd you get to Peru? This is really the letters mansapach. Why? Because mansapach is a gematria of par. Par. Okay, so that you just took the eight away from rapas. What was the original number that he started with? He said you took kama and kama, it's rapas. So then you remove the 8 letters of the osios. Then instead of 287, you should have 279. I think. I mean, so I'm adding this right. I don't know. Shuhu b'gematria par. So add on to the word mansa those 5. Para. Paru. So there's something I'm missing, but maybe I'll go over it later. Being tito. So now you say like this. V'im tito es aches osius peshuto. So now take the 8 letters. You have the word Peru. Shechasarno. That we had already removed, which were the letters of the root itself, of the ekiyas. So he says, Kodim l'chein, says, Mishnei ekiyah milui alofim v'hein. So you took away the ekiyas themselves. V'sitzaretz asaches osios anal, and then you bring the 8 letters that we took away to begin with, those 8 letters. Shel shnei ekiyah de milui alofim v'hein. Im shachav, so you add that together. Shachav v'shem shnei ekiyah b'milu yudin. So now you're taking the 8, you're putting it together with that. She'ilach hashachav anal lokcham parts of Yaakov, which is what Yaakov took. So he said, "V'chavititzarav gam es hashmona osio shel hashnei ekiyah b'milu yudin." So now you're adding together these 8 letters of the shnei ekiyah b'milu yudin. Shehem hashnei ekiyah b'milu yudin shenitlan Yaakov, which is the which is the Peshutos of what was given to Yaakov. Va'ofen shehashnei ekid demilu yudin heim shakov, and so it comes out the gematria 161 is shakov. Okashemitzarfin lochem es tav osia shel arba ekias. So now you take all of the 16 Peshutos that you took away, you add them in. I don't know if you took them away or you just add them back in. It's confusing to me. Confusing. Ukashemitzarfim lechem as sataz osia shel arba ekia shehem shnayim b'milu yudin ve'echa b'milu elafa ve'echa b'milu heim oz heim yiyu yachda b'gematra v'yishka. So you take those 16 and you add it onto Shakov, and now you've got v'yishka. V'keven she'osia Shakov im yud vav osias b'shuta she'arba ekia b'shutas harba heim yishka. Said again. Mateus v'yishkav and Niskarim atos. These letters Yishkav that are mentioned now, who so this is a secret of the Eila Shnei Shemos Ekia b'milu yud the Yudin, what comes with the milu of Yudin. Shechazan noisen lanuk, because what is saying like this. Let me just see this last part. Eila Shnei Shemos Ekia b'milu Yudin, right? Those two. Shechazan noisen lanuk. So he's going to give that. The Zah is going to give the nuk. As a shnei anki the yudin, he's the one the shakov. V'chein noisen as a sheish esrei osir shel arba eki b'mulmuluan, and also not only that, but he gives also the 16 letters of the four ekiyas. So he gives her. Let's read again. He says shechazan noisen the look as a shnei anki the yudin. That's shakov. Not only that, but he gives her the letters themselves. That are the letters of the Pashut. V'cheim nosen as a shnei as sheish esrei osia shel arba ekia b'meluan. So now she has those two. So now you have v'nitnan zu min hazal l'nuk. So this is what's coming from the zad to the nuk. This is lashon yichud. And he's over huba be'esa ziva v'nikra shriva. So this is all taking place at the time of ziva, which is called shriva. V'ata be'esa shriva. He mekabelas gam a mishnei ha'ekia demilu yudin. So this, what it means is that the concept of v'yishkav, or let me read the words of v'ata ve'esa shkiva. So now they're lying together. He mekabelas gam mishnei ekia demilu yudin. She receives also from Zeranpin, which is v'yishkav v'shachov. So he said v'teva v'yishkav v'ramazash Yaakov, which is really to tell you that Yaakov noisin anuk as a shnei eki b'milu yudin, he gives her the two ekiyas of the milu of yudin incomplete as well. Begam as a yud vav osius. Not only does he give her the miluyim, but he also gives her the four peshutim. Begam as a yud vav osius the peshuto shel arba ekiyah. So now she has all of this, and that is the word v'yishkav. Let's see that b'zu teva urmazim gam shnei tevas v'yesh kaf bei. So he switches and he goes to this. He says there's also the possibility that you have the concept here of yesh kaf beis. Well, what's kaf beis got to do with it? I think this is probably the most important part of what he said to me, because I've always been wondering what's going on with this kaf beis. So now he has two different concepts he's playing with. He's playing with Matzapach and Kaf Beis. So he says, Bir Ha'inyan, let me explain it. The V'yesh Kaf Beis, if you look at it like that, Usher Hanok Mekabelas Ata Be'es HaShkiva as Yichud Kaf Beis Osius. So he's saying that the thing that we need to know in the Rishash and looking at the Rishash is you see some places, especially by what do we call it? Atakadosh, right before that. At any rate, over there, I can never remember these names. He says, yeah, Yichud the Kaf Beis Osius, and now what Zah is doing is planting into her 22 letters. Shehem Remez al Kabbalah Hachamisha Chasadim Amaraz V'Kaf Beis Osius Atayra. So he says that the Chamish Chasadim, when inside his Anpin, is a remez to the 22 letters of the Torah without the Matzapach. So let's just say that again. Shehem remez al Kabbalah Chamisha Chasadim. So he says the 5 Chasadim are actually what is it? Or a hint to the 22 letters of the Torah, meaning that the letters of the Torah themselves are chasadim. That's what he's saying. They're inside his Zeranpin. What about them? Shehem osios kafulas, but osios alpha beta beta. So we know that these are the extra letters, the double letters. Shehem chamesh gavuros, which represents five gavuros. Shekona v'zivu kuvor v'lokchom anuk, because the nuk already had this. Rachel es chamesh gavuros shehem osios kafulas shalmansa, but before the actual transmission of the Kaf base osios, she was already a mansapach. She had mansapach within her. That's not so easy to understand what mansapach really means, except he says that each one is a letter represents a gevura. So that seems like a whole, you could open up a door there and get lost. But at any rate, they're in her. She has them. She's gotten them. That's the whole process of bringing all the shefta down and building up the nook with the gevura. She has the gevuras are the 5 letters of the mansapach. I have to think about how that works. So she already has that, and now he's coming along and he's giving her 22 letters of chesed. So now, when they actually lie down together, let me read it again. He mekabelas gam es a chasadim. She also is she's reading now shehem kaf beis osios b'zem berumas b'teva v'yishkav, and this is really referenced by the word v'yishkav. Yishkav means that now she's getting the 22. V'yesh kaf bet, that's the way he wants to see it. Ki ata yesh l'nuk kaf beis osios shehem chamish chasadim. I think that's where we stop right there. I think we have 2 minutes, unless you want to learn a little longer, and the Sifra Tzniuta.